Washington. It's real talk. Man, it's real talk with your main Chip Washington. When it comes to information, the man got an arsenal. Bring you up to speed with what you need. He's the local and nationwide news feed. Let's talk about it. Dialect to do something about it. Chip got the flow wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. Real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
What's good, peeps? Here we go. It is Monday. It is 6 p.m. And yes, your boy is back in the air chair. I am your humble host, Chip Washington. This is Real Talk Memphis, here with my boy Marquette, producing tonight behind the big console. And hopefully we'll have a pretty good show for you tonight. It has really been a time out here, not only in our city, but, this afternoon, there was a shooting at a high school in Knoxville, and to understand that one person has been killed. The suspect is in custody. We heard that several people were injured, but don't have any particular information in reference to that. Also, a police officer for the Knoxville Police Department was injured, but thankfully non-threatening injury. So, more news and notes in a minute, but first things first, how's everybody doing? You guys doing okay this evening? I hope you are. I want to personally thank each and every one of you who chimed in on my Facebook page. I don't complain about being in pain or having any issues because we all have issues, but I have a really bad back. I have 3 herniated discs. And my back is just completely messed up. So yesterday was, I planned on just kind of relaxing on Sunday, but not to the extent to where I couldn't get up, to where I couldn't move. I sat down on a metal chair. I got up and my back completely went out. It has not happened like that in a while. And I was in excruciating pain yesterday. To the point to where taking a step just made me holler. So I was doing some crawling around. I was on pillows. I was laying on the floor. I was doing everything I could. And it was just a terrible, terrible day. But I posted it on Facebook this morning. And I got so many folks reached out to me and personally prayed for me, said they were going to pray for me, pray for healing. If there was a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, I'm about a 6 right now. I can't get out there and juke like I would normally be able to do. Yeah, right. But moving around a little bit better and going to do the show tonight. Going to go home, get back on that heating pad and do what folks, who are dealing with pain like me do. Nothing. That's pretty much what I'm going to do. But between now and then, we do have a little business to take care of, and we are planning on doing that. If you have celebrated or are celebrating a birthday, a wedding anniversary, or special occasion, congratulations to each and every one of you. I know that it has been a glorious time. I just love it when folks get on Facebook and they will announce to the world, whether you know it or not, they always announce these birthdays. Whether you know it or not, it's my birthday, and they want to make sure everybody knows it's their birthday. So, you get them once a year, and thank God you are still here to celebrate. We have a pretty good show tonight. We started off talking about an incident that happened a few hours ago in Knoxville. Well, this weekend we saw 12 shootings, 6 fatalities, and several folks injured here in the city of Memphis, Tennessee. Really, really bad weekend. It seems that these shootings and the lack for the respect of others in life in general has really gone by the wayside. But we are going to speak with still and current Police Director Mike Rallings. He is retiring day after tomorrow. Wednesday is his last day as the police director and as a member of the Memphis Police Department. We're going to talk to him in just a few minutes. And, we have a few things to discuss. And, the highs and lows, what, he is seeing these days, what he hopes will help the new director, whomever that may be, out as we move forward. So we're going to be talking to Police Director Mike Rallings in just a few minutes. Also, have you ever heard of an organization called Give 901? Well, Give 901 is basically an education-based program. What they do is they put together kits, education and academic kits for young folks. Cost about $25, and they have materials in it, and reading and other things like that. And then they're an organization that reaches out to, the underserved members of our community. They also have big-time community partners out here, mentors and teachers and other things like that. We're going to talk to the director of Give 901. Her name is Ann Pitts. We're going to be chatting with her a little bit later on. And in the next half hour, have you all, anybody out there, big designer fan, anybody out there watch HGTV? I was talking to my daughter yesterday, and I mentioned, I said Home and Garden Television, and she was like, well, I don't know. And then I said HGTV. That's what it's known as, right? Which means Home and Garden Television. Anyway, they had a show on recently called Design Star Next Gen. I don't know if you heard about this or not, but a local Memphian won that competition. Her name is Carmeon Hamilton, and Carmeon will be my guest in the second half hour. She won Design Star Next Gen on TV, and she got a $50,000 prize, and she might even get her own television show behind this as well. So that's a bit of good news here. And she also has a design shop here in the city called Newbie, and it's in Bartlett. I live in Bartlett. I'm going to have to try to find that place. But in any event, moving on to some more news and notes. We talked about what happened in Knoxville. We talked about what happened in the city. Really bad weekend from the violence perspective, of course. But I want to talk a little bit about vaccinations. Vaccinations are still moving along. They have plenty of vaccinations. They have vaccines, rather. They have plenty of vaccination sites. In the evening time from, I think, 2 to 7 o'clock, you can go to Pipkin without even having an appointment. Get your vaccination, ladies and gentlemen. It's important. We have had 800 new cases of the virus, COVID virus, which is basically the B117, the one from the UK, that is the predominant virus here. It is spreading like wildfire. 800 new cases in 5 days is a lot. And so there is a definite race between the vaccinations and the variant. We actually don't want the variant to win, even though it's trying its best. I don't know if you heard about what's going on in Michigan. Through the roof. Through the roof. 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 new cases a day. Begging for additional vaccine. They have shut that state down now for the next 2 to 3 weeks to try to stem this, in some respect. If we don't want to see that here, we need to get out. And if you haven't done it, just do it. I mean, it won't hurt you, but it will surely help you, and it will help other people as well. How many of you heard about another shooting of an unarmed black man in Minnesota, of all places? Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, yesterday afternoon. And that is, I guarantee you, the phone is ringing. Tell them to hold on. That is Police Director Rallings, I think, is just calling my show. But we're going to put him on hold for a minute. Is that him? Okay, that's all right. Let him hang up. That's fine. We'll get him in a minute. Anyway, there was a shooting yesterday. A young man, 20 years old, Dante Wright. He called. I mean, not called. I'm sorry. He was stopped, traffic stop, because he had expired tags. He did have a previous warrant they checked, so he was being handcuffed because when you have a warrant, they arrest you. So in the process of all of that, being handcuffed in the whole 9 yards, he got away in terms of the handcuffs, got back in his car to try to drive off. Well, one of the officers who was going to tase him to calm him down and said it audibly. If you hadn't seen the video, it's pretty disturbing. Said, taser, taser, taser. She ended up not pulling out her taser. She pulled out a gun. She shot him is what she did. And he drove a few blocks where he crashed, and he was found dead at the scene. So this is another very disturbing situation. It was a female officer. She was apparently a veteran female officer, not just female, a veteran officer, I should say, of the force. And, this is, obviously big news. They had a protest last night in Minnesota, just a few miles, ironically, from where the George Floyd trial is going on. Again, peaceful protest are one thing, but looting and violence and setting fires and things like that are completely another thing, and they detract from the message that you are trying to send. So prayers out to Dante Wright's family and those that knew him. This is going to be a really tough situation, and as more information comes out, I'm sure we'll find out more about that as well. All right, what do you say? We jump into the big broadcast. We're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we are going to speak with Police Director Mike Rallings of the Memphis Police Department, who is retiring on Wednesday. I'm not retiring. Hey, you know what? They always say, when you're a premier athlete, you're playing pain. So that's what I'm doing for you tonight. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. We're going to take our first break. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Real Talk with Chip Washington. If you're celebrating a birthday, anniversary, or special occasion, shoot him a note and he'll read it on the air. Get involved and tell somebody about Real Talk. We'll be right back.
It's Real Talk. It's Real Talk. It's Real Talk. Hi, this is the Big O, Otis Redding. I was just standing here thinking about you. Thought I'd write a song about you and dedicate it to you. Take a listen. If you didn't go back to school this year, you're really not groovy. Maybe you feel that school is a drag, it just don't move you. But did you ever think about how square you look standing in an employment line because school didn't interest you? You really hard to think about it. Without an education, you could only be a tramp. Broke and shoes, no haircut, just plain old country. Don't worry about the fellas on the corner calling you green because you're betting your future condition. You're really hard to think about it. And furthermore, tell them that Otis Redding say you're very wise because you'll be at the top when they get there. And if they make it, when they get there, if they make it, when they get there, if they make it, you really ought to think about it. Think about it, really ought to think about it.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis. Chip here on this Monday. Very happy to have you with us. And also very happy to have my first guest who has had a a long and distinguished career with the Memphis Police Department. He is retiring day after tomorrow, but he consented to give us a few minutes of his time and probably one of his final interviews as the police director. Director Mike Rallings is on the phone. Director, thank you so much for being with me. I appreciate it.
Hey, Chip. Thank you for having me.
Man, listen, I know that you are about to head to greener pastures in terms of retirement the next couple of days, and I know that you've been busy sort of wrapping things up. We're in the midst of trying to find a new director and a lot of other things going on. We've had a tough weekend here in Memphis. You have not been shy, my friend, on what you think the community should be doing to help the police department more, and hopefully what will happen down the road when the next director takes over. Talk a little bit about that, if you will.
Yeah, so first, thank you for the question. Obviously, I have a different viewpoint as a 31-year law enforcement professional, 5 years as director. Mm-hmm. And I think the one consistent thing that's been missing my entire career is that large community buy-in, and I think Apostle Atkins talked about it the other day, where we have we're just kind of apathetic in response to the violence that happens in our community, unless it is at the hands of some officer-involved shooting or some act by a police officer. I mean, we even, this new term that I hear people talking about, police violence. I always go, what are y'all talking about? Mm-hmm. Where we're in a city where we have 5,000 aggravated assaults every single year. Yeah. We've averaged 150 plus homicides almost my entire career, and we broke records last year, 39 children murdered, killed. But there was no outrage, there was no protest, and now we're on pins and needles watching what is going on in Minneapolis when the carnage in Memphis is not at the hands of police officers. These are our, sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers that are committing these acts, and they're from the community. But we cannot stand by and not, try to get involved and work with law enforcement to take dangerous people off the street.
Speaking with Director Mike Rallings, Memphis Police Department. And Director, why is it, what is your, and I know you spend a lot of time analyzing and thinking and watching trends. Why is it, in your opinion, that people just won't get involved in what affects them on a daily basis?
I think it's a number of reasons. We know we're challenged in the city on almost every single issue: poverty, housing, education, access to health care. And so I think there's a feeling of hopelessness. I was talking to a young man that in the juvenile court ceasefire program, and I could just tell that he just didn't see a future. And I asked him, "Hey, young man, you think you're going to make it to 19? No. Well, if I got young men in our city that don't think they're going to make it to 19, they don't mind spraying a house down with gunfire. They don't mind, shooting someone, robbing someone, killing someone, because they don't have any hope for the future. And, a lot of people think that that's law enforcement's job to give them hope. Yes, we have a part, but that's the community's role. That's our clergy, teachers, families, coaches that give children hope. And when you got a bunch of young men in our community that don't have any hope, they don't mind taking your life. And so that's the type thing I'm talking about. Layla Washington, 2-year-old baby murdered. It took 2 years for the individual that knew that information to come forward and give us what we needed to make an arrest in that case. Right. 2 years of anguish for that family, of frustration for the police department, but just think that family did not see justice for 2 years and still have to go through these court proceedings, and that won't bring that baby back.
We are speaking with Police Director Mike Rallings here, kind of winding up his 31-year career. Will be retiring on Wednesday. And, you brought up a very good point. And yeah, Pastor Atkins did raise some very interesting questions and voiced some pretty harsh opinions. But also, you have mentioned in the past that clergy really should be and play a bigger role as the shepherds of the flocks out here to try to help and to talk to our young men and our young people and just our folks, period, about, the path forward being more positive than it is that we see today.
Okay, clergy has to be the moral compass of the people. And if clergy is not that, then, we are missing out on some opportunities because we're not following the teachings of Christ. So, yes, clergy has an incredible role to play. And if you think about the history of the black church in America, the clergy was at the center and the forefront of everything.
Right.
And so, like I tell the preachers, after the horrific murder of George Floyd, there are all types of preachers lined up to tell law enforcement what to do. And I've been talking to you guys for 5 years. Mm-hmm. And before then, it was Director Armstrong for another 5 years. So, y'all got some catching up to do. You got to get out your churches. You got to get in these neighborhoods. You have to address these young men that have turned to a life of violence, and they are victimizing our people, your people. And we have to do something about it. So, you got to do more than whatever we're doing because it's not working. And it just can't be government and law enforcement that we're relying on to solve this problem because it is really a morality problem.
Sure. Listen, let me ask you something that I know has really been a thorn in your side. I think is one of the dumbest things I think I've ever heard, and that is the governor signed into the law the permitless carry a bill, which takes effect in July. But to me, this is basically like almost lighting, the fuse on a stick of dynamite. And I know that not only you, but every law enforcement professional and agency throughout the state of Tennessee, including here in Memphis and Shelby County, is against this. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, that's ridiculous. I read an article the other day that just really summed it up. To go fishing, I have to have a fishing license. To go hunting, have to have a hunting license. To drive, have to have a driver's license. But to carry a gun and make a life and death decision, I don't have to have training. I don't have to have a background check. Don't have to have a permit. Don't have to demonstrate any proficiency. And the rest of it is left to the imagination. So I just, received a renewal for my handgun carry permit. I've already been through the background check, and it was almost comical when I read all the questions that I'm being asked to renew my permit, but right. We're going to allow other individuals to carry without a permit. Chip, there are like almost 20 questions on here that it said, I'm 21, I'm a U.S. citizen, I'm resident of Tennessee. But then it went on and said, you must not be prohibited from purchasing or possession of a handgun in this or any other state. I do not have a felony conviction. I don't have a charge pending for domestic violence. I'm not a fugitive for justice. I'm not discharged from the armed forces under dishonorable conditions. I'm not an illegal alien. I've not renounced my U.S. citizenship. I do not have an order of protection or a restraining order filed against me. I'm not an unlawful user of alcohol or any other controlled substance. I'm not a patient in a rehabilitation program. Chip, I'm halfway through. And so how is the officer on the street going to know all these things? And if the individual doesn't know, they're going to say, look, the law said I'm 21. I'm not a convicted felon. And I think I meet the requirements for a handgun permit. Well, if you don't meet the requirements to buy a gun, you shouldn't be able to carry a gun. And there is no way to checks and balances that's going to allow people to carry a gun. And to me, it just doesn't make any sense. I think that we're far past what was intended by the Second Amendment, although it is very loosely interpreted by advocates of constitutional carry. I don't think our forefathers meant that I bet if they were here today, they'd say, no, that is not what we meant. We did not mean for that to occur, and y'all need to turn back the clocks on permitless, this permitless carry in Tennessee.
Well, Director Mike Rallings, thank you so much for, first of all, your service, 31 years serving the community, trying to make Memphis a better place, and for the last 5, heading the Memphis Police Department. I wish you absolutely nothing but the best in your retirement. I thank you for your service. I appreciate everything that you have done. And all we can do now is pray Godspeed for the one who succeeds you as we continue to move forward. But thank you so much for taking time. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Chip. I hope I've made some type of positive contribution to our community, and we'll be here to support the next Director of Police Services.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you go. That was Police Director, Memphis Police Department Director Mike Rallings, one of his last interviews as he set sail on retirement after 31 years serving our community in some very tough words. We all need to step up. I mean, there is absolutely no respect for human life or anything or anyone else out here, and God only knows what's going to happen. But yeah, Pastor Atkins said a mouthful last week, and I hope some folks were listening. And more importantly, I hope that we all galvanize as a community. Thank you, Director Rallings, for everything you have done. We're going to take our second break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Give 901 and how you can contribute to the education of our young people. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. We will be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest? Or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Sam.
I don't think Jim would mind if we just talk about a little school dropping out.
Education.
Yeah. I was reading a paragraph the other day that said a little bit of learning can be dangerous. And because today's job market, the smaller your education, the smaller your chances for success.
True.
So I would like to tell our friends,
Hey, I'm here.
don't be a dropout. Drop out of school today. You have less education than most machines. That's just
Okay, sounds
a little
great.
figure of speech there, but really it's a true thing. It doesn't sell the dull, dirty, or the low-paying jobs,
Right. Right.
But if we stay in school and try to get that education, the kids now they really do want to stay in school now, And the ones that don't want to stay in school, watching the ones that are going to school, they really want to get on in there because it's so much happening. Look, you're getting your studies, you're getting a chance to play with sports. It's so many beautiful things in school that you can do, So, girls and boys, this is Sam.
And I'm Dave.
And we would like to say to you, don't be a dropout. Stay in school.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis. Chip here on this beautiful Monday, by the way. Absolutely gorgeous. Temperatures in the 80s. I'm to understand temperatures are going to be in the 60s for the remainder of the week, but that should still be nice as well. As we continue on with our program, I saw this young lady who's my next guest on Live at 9 recently talking about a program that, I'll be honest, I had never heard of, but I was so impressed with not only her, but the entire program and how they work tirelessly to educate or to help educate our young folks. So I decided to reach out and have her on my program. She is Ms. Ann Pitts. She is the director of Give 901. And Ann, are you there?
I am here, and it's great to be here.
Well, listen, it's great to have you here on Real Talk Memphis. I really appreciate your time. And more importantly, I really appreciate what you do. Now, for those who don't know exactly what give901.org is, can you give us a rundown of what your organization is and what you do?
Yes, absolutely. And Chip, I also just want to thank you for calling me a young lady. I appreciate that very much.
Anytime.
So what we do, so Give 901 is a giving network. It was created by Choose 901 and city leadership. Many people are very familiar with Choose 901.
Yes.
And our mission is to engage Memphians in supporting education in Memphis, particularly education for our lower income students in the more under-resourced communities. So we're out there spreading a lot of knowledge about what our network does and helping to raise money for it. And we pass 100% of that on directly to the outstanding local educational programs that include teacher training programs, innovative schools, and outstanding after-school mentoring programs.
Now, you also have some tremendous community partners. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But how is it that folks can contribute to your organization for the betterment of our young people? And by the way, you will be getting a donation from me tomorrow. But go ahead and let folks know exactly what it is that you do in particular to help our young folks.
Chip, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that gift. That's amazing. But yeah, it's really incredible what we do. And as you mentioned, we have some really amazing partners. So what we do is, we're essentially a network of city builders creating opportunity for Memphis kids through these innovative education solutions. And we work with 10 organizations that have been around for 10 to 20 plus years that have all been working to provide some direct services to our students, and particularly our most at-risk students.
Right.
So we work with organizations involved in teacher recruitment and teacher training and teacher retention. And then we work with a number of schools that are providing some incredible educational opportunities for young people from a lot of lower income neighborhoods. And then what is also essential is we have to provide that after-school support and the mentoring support. So we also work with several organizations that are providing that direct service to those students and really getting them engaged with adults who can have a real positive impact on their life. And so we support those organizations so people can support us, and then 100% of what goes to Give 901 goes directly to these 10 organizations. So basically, funding Give 901 is like funding this machine that helps power education in Memphis. And we're having incredible impacts. The organizations that we work with are producing high school graduates that are graduating. They've got 100% graduation rates. They're sending kids to college. They're getting scholarships for kids to go to college. And many of these students are first-generation college students, so it's incredible. And then The idea is to get them back into the Memphis community, working in jobs, at businesses, starting their own businesses right here in the 901.
Absolutely amazing, amazing. Ann Pitts is my guest. She's the director of Give 901. Okay, so how can we help? What do we need to do to give? And when we give, what comes from that?
Yeah, it's so easy. So we have a couple of really great ways to get involved. The first is we have a program going on right now called the Summer Learning Kit.
Okay.
And these are packages that are filled with learning activities, STEM projects, books, and they are carefully designed to engage young students and keep them actively learning through the summer break when a lot of learning loss happens. And we all know, I don't have to tell you, this last year has been a challenge for everybody, and it's especially been a challenge for our young students, and even more so the students from those under-resourced communities and neighborhoods. So this is a way for us to get books into their hands, activities into their hands, to keep them engaged during the summer. And people can go online to give901.org, and $25, a donation of $25, puts a learning kit into the hands of a child this summer. And it's just a fantastic program. We're trying to get over 3,000 kits out to students this summer. So you can go online, give901.org, give $25. Hey, if you can, give 50, give 75. It all goes directly to those students to help keep them learning through the summer. So that's one really great, immediate, impactful way to support Give 901.
Excellent. Absolutely. And look, you know, whenever you talk about the education of our young people, and you also mentioned the challenge that none of us saw coming, but has had such a tremendously great impact on academics and learning and the way things are done. And yeah, it has hurt a bit. There's no doubt about it. In-person learning is a whole lot better, but for you to be able to get these kits together, for all of us to donate $25. Listen, if you donate $25, that's so you miss out on a Happy Meal or two. You know what I mean? I mean, this is giving to the future of our city, in our county, in our state, because these young people are going to take over one day. So before you get out of here, one more time, let people know what they need to do and how they need to do it and how they can reach out and contact your organization.
Yeah, absolutely. So our website has all of the details. So go to give901.org.
Right.
It's got the information on how to donate to the learning kits and how important those learning kits are. And if you want to become a part of the Give 901 support network, then by all means, join up. We've got a great page that gives you all of the information about how to become a Give 901 member and how to become part of that network that is funding those 10 organizations that are coming at education from those three critical points: teachers, schools, and after-school programs and mentors. And it's just so essential, as you said, to help these kids get to a place where they are able to graduate from high school, go to college, and then become our future leaders of this city. It's critical.
Absolutely. Listen, I can't thank you enough for coming on this show. And more importantly, I can't thank you enough for what you are doing for our young people, what you are doing for our community, and what you are doing for the future of Memphis and Shelby County. And as I said, you will be getting something from me tomorrow. I promise you that. I will be making a donation, and I'm urging anybody who listens to this show to actually want to do something positive, to do it with give901.org. Annie Potts, thank you so much Pitts, thank you so much for coming on the show. I truly appreciate it, and you're welcome back anytime.
Chip, thank you so much, Chip. I really appreciate it. Good to be with you.
You too. Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you.
You too.
Well, so, if we're going to spend our money on frivolous things, why not spend our money on something that actually has some benefit, which is give901.org. $25 will provide an education kit and will give our young people some academics during the summertime and will help them better when they go back to school in the fall. We're going to take one final break. I'm expecting a phone call any minute from the latest winner, the first winner actually, of HGTV's Design Star Next Gen. Her name is Carmeon Hamilton, and hopefully my phone will be ringing here in just a minute. But if she's a few minutes late, that's okay, because I know how to vamp. This is Real Talk Memphis. I am your humble host, Chip Washington, aching back and all. We're coming around to the home stretch. Thank you for being with us. We will be right back, and there's the phone right now.
You're listening to Real Talk with Chip Washington. If you're celebrating a birthday, anniversary, or special occasion, shoot him a note and he'll read it on the air. Get involved and tell somebody about Real Talk. We'll be right back.
It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
Hi, this is the big Otis Redding. I was just standing here thinking about you. Thought I'd write a song about you and dedicate it to you. Take a listen. If you didn't go back to school this year, you're really not groovy. Maybe you feel that school is a drag, it just don't move you. But did you ever think about how square you look standing in an employment line because school didn't interest you? You really hard to think about it. Without an education, you could only be a tramp. Broke and shoes, no haircut, just plain old country. Don't worry about the fellas on the corner calling you green because you're betting your future condition. You're really hard to think about it. And furthermore, tell them that Otis Redding say you're very wise because you'll be at the top when they get there. And if they make it, when they get there, if they make it, when they get there, if they make it, you really ought to think about it. Think about it, really ought to think about it.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
It's real talk. 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 It's real talk.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis. I'm your host, Chip Washington, and very, very happy to have not only you with us, but our next guest with us. If you are familiar with HGTV, which is Home and Garden Television, you might be familiar with a show called Design Star. Well, they sort of added to the roster of that show and created a show called Design Star Next Gen, and my next guest was the winner of that particular competition. Her name is Carmeon Hamilton, and she joins me now. Are you there?
I am here.
Well, listen, thank you so much, Carmeon, for being with us tonight. I know that you have been in great demand since you won the program. And again, congratulations from all of us here and from all of us here in the city of Memphis and Shelby County. We're all very, very, very proud of you.
Thank you so much. I was honored to be able to represent this city. I had no idea I would walk away with a win, but super proud that Memphis gets a little shine. I'm happy to share the shine with this city.
Well, absolutely, and you deserve it. And if you wouldn't mind, walk us through kind of the whole process of being part of this show, being part of the competition, and of course the moment when you found out that you were the winner. But how did you actually get involved in the production of this program in the first place?
Well, it's all a bit of a roller coaster. So I was contacted by a casting producer on Instagram. And it's not the first time a casting producer has ever reached out to me. But in this particular case, I was kind of on the downhill slope of pursuing TV. But this producer said, we have an opportunity for you. We think you'd be great. Do you mind if we have a conversation? That conversation turned into a Zoom call that was recorded, and then a couple weeks later, I got another message that said, can we have another call and another Zoom interview?
Okay.
And they seemed quite interested. And about a month and a half later, I was notified by one of the show producers that they were very interested in me. But at that particular point is when COVID happened. And so everything involving the show was put on hold. They had to figure out how to go through production with a pandemic happening.
Yeah, exactly.
So I didn't hear anything until the end of the summer. Several months went by. It was just kind of like, I don't know what's happening.
Sure.
Don't know if the show is going to happen. But the end of the summer, I got the call, and I was told I was one of the finalists cast for the show, and they asked me if I was ready to fly to California. And at that time, my business had blown up here.
Okay.
I had taken my business virtual, and I got a ton of success via that mode. And so by the time the show called me back, I was like, I have a great business now. I don't want to leave it right at the peak of its success, but my husband and my best friend both convinced me, like, you'll have your business for as long as you want it. So, but how often are you going to get a chance to be on TV? You need to go. So I decided to go, and we shot at the end of last year over almost 5 weeks. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life. And I'm a competitor, but never have I competed on this type of level. It was just constant mental, emotional, physical, grueling.
Wow.
And, you know, I went just hoping to make it through the first episode. And to my surprise, and apparently a lot of other people, but also not a lot of people, like my husband, he was just like, I told you were going to win.
There you go.
I told you would win.
That's it.
So I won.
Well, so listen. And first of all, ladies and gentlemen, if you are just tuning in, we are talking with Carmeon Hamilton. She is the winner of HGTV's Design Star Next Gen. And as you were telling your story, I guess I wanted to back up a little bit when you said that they initially contacted you via Instagram. How did they know about you? How did they find out about you? How did they even know where you were or who you were?
That's a good question, because I have no idea. I'm very active on social media. I get messages all the time.
Yeah.
And it's always, you never know what's going to land in your inbox. And so a lot of the times I just kind of ignore messages like, hey, I'm a casting producer for a TV show. Can you email me? I'm like, yeah, right. But in this particular case, I have no idea how they found me. No idea.
Wow. That is a story of a story of a story. So you kind of walked us through the process. You went out to California. I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, so whenever I hear that, I always get a little excited. But you went out there and you went through all of the ups and downs and the ins and outs of all of this. What was the final chapter of being on the show that basically got you to the winner's crown? What did you have to do in terms of reaching that pinnacle?
Well, it's kind of funny. I ultimately ended up calling myself the bridesmaid throughout the competition. There were 8 contestants for the entire series, with one person being eliminated each week.
Okay.
And every week I was in the top 3, but I never won a challenge. Never won a challenge, but I just kept saying, you know what, just do well enough to make it to the next challenge. Just do well enough to make it to the next challenge. You only have to be better than one other person at a time. So that's kind of the method to my madness, but that got me all the way to the finale and the final 2. And that finale was where I got to really show who I was as a designer, who I was as a person, show how I would develop my own brand and show for the network. And apparently that's what impressed the judges the most. I was able to connect in a way that my competitor couldn't.
Wow, that is really quite something. And as I said, I'm beaming with pride. We've never met. Now you have a store here. Is it called Newbie Interiors? Did I get that correct?
That is the correct pronunciation. Yes, it is my design business. I don't have a storefront. That's my design business. I work out of my own studio here at my home, but Newbie Interiors is my design business. Yes. Well,
so now that you have been crowned winner of this program, and we understand that you got a $50,000 prize, and how real is the possibility of you? Because I figured it was just kind of almost an automatic thing that you're going to get your own show out of all of this. Talk about that if you can, or where that process is.
Yes, and it's funny because you go through the entire process and it's always explained to you as the opportunity to have your own show. It's the opportunity to have your own show, but almost immediately after winning, I was on the phone with producers talking about my show and starting the development process right before Christmas, right before the competition ended. So my particular show, there is a format. We've finalized details such as music and fonts and things like that. So it is very real. I don't have a start date or anything like that. We're waiting on some final approvals from the network, but there's a show coming to Memphis, hopefully sometime soon.
Man, that's awesome. I mean, that really is. I mean, so Memphis is going to be in the spotlight right along with you. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you need an announcer or a production assistant or somebody to clean up, afterwards, after the shooting is over, I'm available. I'm available. So
I will be sure to give you a call.
Okay, because I tell you, I'll be ready. Well, first of all, finally, I guess before I let you go, talk to our listeners and anybody out there who may have a dream like you did. I mean, you obviously had a dream to be a designer, and you worked very, very hard at it. And now the Lord has blessed you with the reward of the fruits of your labor. Talk to those folks out there who may have the same type of dream that you had one day, and what they need to do to kind of hang in there and stick with it. So who knows what could happen down the road for them.
Absolutely. And I've gotten this question a couple times since being announced as a winner, and the two things that always ring true to me, and when I try to answer it, is in all the years, even graduating college with my interior design degree, the thing that had me stand out amongst the crowd was being myself. I never tried to copy or duplicate things that I saw or things that were popular. I just remained true to myself. But on the flip side of that, I was always prepared. I did the work. I was always the person that had a completed presentation, or my website was ready. I was always prepared for when the opportunity showed up. So Be yourself and always be prepared. You never know what's going to happen or what's around the corner.
Boy, I tell you what, and again, we are all just, so excited. And when I saw you on Live at 9 about a week or so ago with Alex. I said, well, you know what? I'm going to chase her down. And I was able to sort of to find out how to do that. And I had to go through a couple of sources. But you know what? That's what resourceful radio hosts do. You know, we get out here and
yes, it is. Yes, resourcefulness. Exactly.
That's exactly right. But listen, in all sincerity, congratulations, heartfelt congratulations from not only me, but from the entire city of Memphis and the entire Shelby County delegation. We are all so proud of you, and I can't wait to see you on network television doing your own show. I know you will absolutely be fantastic. And Carmeon, thank you for taking some time to spend with us this evening. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and I couldn't be more proud to be a part of a better city.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Have a good night.
You too.
All righty. Well, I tell you, that was a great way to wrap up the show. I guess Marquette is trying to tell me it's time to go because he hitting buttons and playing themes and everything. Yeah, I didn't even have to call for it. But listen, this was a great show. I hope that you all enjoyed the broadcast tonight. We are a podcast now, and I've always wanted to say, you can hear the show. Obviously live on WYXR 91.7 FM as we're on right now. You can also check out WYXR.org or the TuneIn app to catch it live. And we are available on podcast wherever you get your podcast. You can get this show next day or two when it's posted. So I hope you do that, and I hope you follow us, and I hope you subscribe. If you see something pop up on the phone that says that Real Talk with Chip Washington, Real Talk Memphis, don't just dismiss it. Go to it and hit subscribe. That's how you build things, right? Like Carmeon was talking about, be yourself. I'm gonna be myself. Thank you again for checking in on me today. I was in some terrible pain yesterday. My back hurt so bad. It was just, you hate to see a grown man cry, but if you had checked me out yesterday, you might have seen a tear or two. But honestly, on Facebook, you all, man, have really, made me feel a lot better. Your prayers, your encouragement, your support of me, asking me if I need anything. I really, seriously, I really do appreciate that. It's very nice to know that people actually care about you when you're not feeling your best. Now, Marquette, play my theme. So we're about to get out of here. And before we do get out of here, I just want you to know that, we could use your support here at this radio station. This is a nonprofit community radio station. So if you would like to donate, and we would take your donations, you can donate at wyxr.org/donate so you can hear great music, great programming, and great talk like here on Real Talk Memphis. Thank you so much for giving us a bit of your time tonight. I truly appreciate it. For Marquette and myself, be good to one another, okay? Take care of each other, support each other, and encourage each other when we need it, okay? Please do that. Lift, don't push. And if the Lord says so, next time, next week, same time, same station, I will be here. We will be here as well. And in the meantime, in between time, I'm Chip, and I'm out.